Hello. Today we're going to work on solving equations using the distributive property. And remember, the distributive property is when we are multiplying everything within the parentheses or in a grouping by the same digit. So our first example here we have is 3 times x minus 5 plus 1 equals 2 plus x. And we see these parentheses. It kind of catches my eye first thing. I realize that I cannot combine terms inside the parentheses, so I look on the outside and there's this 3. And this is telling me that I can use the distributive property to get rid of those parentheses so I can move on. So I'm going to take and multiply everything inside the parentheses by the 3. So I have 3 times x, which is 3x, and 3 times 5, which is 15. And then I'm going to bring everything else down. Now I can combine some like terms here. I have this minus 15 and plus 1. And I can take a look at this as if this was add the opposite, and that makes this negative 15. And so if I have negative 15 plus 1, that's going to give me a negative 14. Well, in algebra, you can always write, instead of saying 3x plus negative 14, we can just say minus 14. And then everything else would just come down. Then we have 3x minus 14 equals x, or 2 plus x. And I have to decide which side I want my variable on. And it could go either way. I do know that if I subtract 3 from 1, I'm going to get a negative number. But if I subtract 1 from 3, I'm going to get a positive number. So I'm going to choose to subtract x from both sides. And that gives me 3x minus 1x gives me 2x. And I'm going to bring down my minus 14 and my equals and my 2. Now I want to get rid of the 14. The opposite of subtraction is to add. So I'm going to add 14 to both sides. 2 plus 14 is 16. The 14s are now gone, so I just bring down my 2x. Now to solve for x, I need to move the 2. It's multiplication, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And so that means that x is going to equal 8. And to check my answer, I could easily substitute the x with 8 and solve to make sure that it does indeed become equal. Here's another one working with negative numbers. I have 5 minus 7k equals negative 4 times the sum of k and 1 minus 3. The first thing I notice is I have these two parentheses. So again, I'm going to distribute the negative 4. So I have negative 4 times k is negative 4k. And negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. And again, you'll notice that it's written as subtract 4. Okay. Now I can combine any like terms that I might have. And I see that I have a negative 4 and a negative 3. And together those become a negative 7. And I'm just going to bring my negative 4k down. So this looks like they want the variable on the left, so we're going to move this negative 4k. So the opposite of negative is positive, so I'm going to add 4k to both sides. That becomes 0. 0 minus 7 is negative 7. And then negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3. So I have 5 minus 3k equals negative 7. Now let's get rid of this 5. Because there's nothing in front of it, I'm looking at the fact that it's a positive 5, and I'm going to use that, knowing that if I take 5 away from 5, I get 0. And so if I take 5 from this side, I also have to take 5 from this side. So 5 minus 5 is 0. I just bring down the negative 3k, just bring this whole thing down. We don't want to lose this negative sign. And then I have negative 7 minus 5. And remember the rules for subtraction with integers. We want to change it to add the opposite. So we're going to keep the first, change to addition, and change the positive to a negative. Now I have two negatives. I'm just going to add across, so 7 plus 5 is 12. Oops, they've already wrote that down there. And then because they're both negative, it's negative 12. So that's where this negative 12 comes in. Now to get k by itself, I need to undo the multiplication. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. Negative 12 divided by negative 3. They're both negatives, so it's going to be a positive answer. So it's going to be positive 4. Let's do a your turn. Where would you start? And what would you distribute by? What would you combine like terms? Okay, so if you were paying attention, in front of the 9 was a subtraction sign. So we're going to read this as a negative 9, and then we're going to distribute by negative 9. When we do that, we get negative 9 times y is negative 9y. Negative 9 times positive 2 is negative 18. Now we can look to see if we need to combine any like terms. Do we have any like terms to combine? Yes, we do. We have a 3, and then we have the negative 18. So we would have 3 minus 18. Subtraction, I can't take 18 from 3, so we're going to change it to keep the first, change to add. Opposite of positive 18 is negative 18. Because they're different, we're going to find the difference, and that's 15. I have more negatives than I do positives, so that's going to be a negative 15. So my equation then will be y minus 5 equals negative 9y minus 15. Now I have to decide which side I want the variable on, left or right. I would like to have it on the left, so I am going to move this negative 9y term by adding 9y to each side. And that would be 10y's, because 1y plus 9y's is 10y's, minus 5 equals negative 15. Add 5. 10y equals negative 10. And divide by 10. Y is going to equal a negative 1. Okay? All right. You're going to work through problem number 2 and answer it on the next question. If you have any questions, ask for help. Thank you.